Well, drama continues to unfold in the Meyiwa Murder Trial. Yesterday, broadcast journalists were heavily criticized for chasing a witness, Tshamano Makhadi, the late soccer star's friend. SABC, eNCA, as well as Newsroom Africa were all kicked out of court, and the three media houses have apologized for their conduct. Let's speak now to broadcast media lecturer Tshamano Makhadi about what exactly happened just yesterday. Tshamano, thank you for your time and good morning to you. When you saw those events unfold, particularly from the media, from journalists to the witness, Tshamano Makhadi, outside court, what do you make of it? What was your first thought?
Good morning, Dumelo, and good morning to the viewers. I really must say what happened yesterday was very unfortunate, and I think we must just re-emphasize the point to say no journalist is above the law. And what happened yesterday, we all regret it because it's really not just about the three media houses, but obviously it's an issue that affects all of us in the industry. And I do hope that through the apologies that were sent by the journalists themselves and their respective media houses will be accepted by the general South African public. Yeah, indeed. And we know that, the journalists, of course, did apologize. They're on their last warning following that incident. Advocate George Balo's argument was that the witness, Tshamano Makhadi, was meant to be given an opportunity to stand in court to testify before being charged by journalists. Where do you think the line should be drawn between trying to get to a story and perhaps trying to get the story first in an incident of a high-profile court case such as this, the Tshamano Makhadi trial, and allowing the witness to first have their say in court? Obviously, the Tshamano Makhadi case has a lot of interest amongst South Africans, and obviously, in that heat of a moment, as a journalist trying to cover the story, it might happen that one might forget some of the ethical considerations. We really need to just point out the fact that the witness at the time had not actually been sworn in. So in other words, it was wrong for the journalist to begin to film and asking questions, identifying him in that sense. It would be appropriate if the witness had been sworn in. But as I do say, Dumelo, it's a very unfortunate incident, and obviously beyond that, I mean the fact that the three media houses could not broadcast at the time. Obviously, that takes away the right of citizens who are waiting to see the proceedings of the day. Yeah, and obviously a lot of opinion has been weighed in on this, and I just want to pick your mind and brain on this, Tshamano. Did it matter whether or not Tshamano Makhadi had already appeared in a Netflix documentary surrounding, Tshamano Mayiwa's murder and giving his version of events during that trial? Perhaps the media thinking that if he has already spoken out publicly about this, surely he can speak once again, even if it means before court. What do you make of those little blurred lines that different arguments may say, hey, maybe perhaps because he already spoke publicly, then he could once again before giving that testimony again in court? I hear you very well, and I think those lines are very black because one is sort of trying to, basically make a decision as to whether you should go ahead or maybe not. But the bottom line is that the witness had not appeared in court. So I think that should be the first consideration in this regard. Yeah. I also want to talk about the conduct of the media inside and outside court. What's your opinion, Tshamano? There are clear, rules in terms of how the media needs to conduct themselves during proceedings in court. Very orderly, we see quiet, allowing, of course, the events to take place without any interruption or interviews even conducted in court. But outside court, what's your opinion of how, the conduct should be, this outside court, I mean? Obviously, the court territory. Obviously, it's inside the court. What happens outside the court becomes something else. But I think in the interest of fairness and perception, which is mainly made amongst the general South African public, and I think that conduct still has to be a good one, so that there aren't questions that are most likely going to be raised against journalists. The South African National Editors Forum, maybe just to add to your point, I know that they also have guidelines that talks about the conduct of journalists in court, and I think that's one other document that journalists in this regard, obviously including editors and news editors, can also consider, which I think it comes as a very, very good document to consider, especially against the story that we're talking about here this morning.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you adding your voice to this. Thank you so much for speaking to me this morning. Broadcast media lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology, Tshamano Makhadi, thank you so much for your time.